lockdown has started to ease wherever you are right now. And if the lockdown is easing, then hopefully you're getting chances to get out and start to enjoy yourselves. But before you do that, I come with some wisdom that I wanted to share from the movies. So let me first introduce myself. My name is Prash Katecha. I am the founder of Stress to Success and Urban Spirituality, and I am a passionate conscious leadership and mindset and well-being expert who really, for me, has found a lot of joy in unknown sources where we can get wisdom. And one of the sources of wisdom, obviously aside from books, aside from podcasts, aside from people that we work with and our mentors, for me, one of the sources of wisdom has been movies. And I'm sure all of us have a movie that we've enjoyed, we've liked. It's been our go-to. And there are the movies that make us cry. There are the movies that give us tears of joy, tears of hope. I mean, how many people remember The Shawshank Redemption or The Godfather or The Wizard of Oz? There are countless movies. And I'm sure that if we were to cast our mind back, we would find moments in Hollywood movies where we've had some inspiration or some flash of brilliance. So on this live, I wanted to share some wisdom about where I found some inspiration, movies that I've looked at, movies that others have shared, and just to give a little bit of a glimpse of the sorts of lessons for leaders that we can pick up from this to become a more conscious leader, to become a more self-aware leader. And by leaders, I don't want to confine this to people in organizations or their own businesses, but actually all of us, because in a way, all of us are leaders for our family or our household unit, or in some way for some people in our life. And I think if we look back, we can find in our lives where we've been a leader in some capacity on the home or the work front. So without further ado, I want to dive in to at least 5 lessons for leadership that we can learn from some well-known and maybe lesser known Hollywood movies. So let's start off this list, and we're going to start right at the top with Captain America: Civil War. Now, those of you who know the Marvel universe, you'll be familiar with the Marvel series of movies, starting back from Iron Man, the Hulk actually, and then moving out through to the Avengers. And along that journey, a few years ago, was Captain America: Civil War. So in Captain America: Civil War, the Avengers take a faction. They split up, and there's this big disagreement on a point of contention that sees these two amazing groups of superheroes being formed, and they're pit against one another. When they're split up, each side has to regroup and bring in new recruits to shore up their strength. And the lesson to pick up here is that you can be the greatest leader in the world, but without good people around you, you won't get very far. And so the lesson here is to recruit the right people. Recruiting the right people is key. A good leader sees past the person with the best degree, with the most experience, but actually transcends that and looks to see the potential. A good leader, he or she can spot the potential that others may have, which other people haven't identified, and they can see those strengths that other people may not see, those characteristics that will actually complement that existing team that they have and enable it to perform at their very best. So the lesson from Captain America: Civil War is recruit a good team. All right, let's move on and let's look at some others. Example number 2. And this one, before I do this, let me just check in here for a second and refresh the stream that we've got. Okay, I'm gonna throw up question number 2. Number 2 comes to us from a 1999 film. Who's a fan of Al Pacino here, by the way? Big fan of Al Pacino, loves what he's been doing, all this time. But he did a movie, and I don't know if you guys remember this, back in 1999 called Any Given Sunday. And he played this coach, Joe D'Amato, like an incredible guy. And Joe D'Amato was a renegade coach. He was unorthodox. People kind of liked him or they hated him. He's a really incredible character. You either liked him or you didn't like him. But what I really remember about that film, and I guess what others take away from it as well, is how he tells his players. He gets together a team of people with disparate skills. And under his leadership, he says, look, I'm going to teach you the tactics. I'm going to show you how to organize this yourselves on the field. So you're ready, you know where you're positioned on the field, but it's up to you to win the game. And so what he does in the movie, he proceeds to empower his team. He proceeds to empower his team with the responsibility for finding their own way, for actually finding their own way in the locker room and out onto the field. And he does that by showing them that he trusts his players, that they will rise to their own abilities. He has this intrinsic trust that they will find their own ability. He has this belief they'll find it and they'll be able to demonstrate what they've learned to the best of their abilities. And his job is to encourage them, show them how to succeed. And through that support and feedback, he's able to help them to find their own solution for delivery of their problems and finding the right target. So in this way, a lesson for us is that as leaders, we can help and empower employees to find their own solutions, give them appropriate encouragement and feedback, and help them to learn and grow and develop as professionals and fan those small characteristics or qualities that they may not even recognize within themselves. But you can, as a leader, as a conscious leader, help to bring them to the forefront and help them to become a strong member of the workforce and in the team. So the lesson, empower your employees. All right. Number 3 on this list. And we move on to a movie that was a great comedy. I thought it was an unexpected hit. Maybe 5-6 years ago, The Internship. It's got the comedians Vince Vaughn, Owen Wilson, and it's a comedy about two aging, and I use that word aging very loosely, aging salespeople who are long in the tooth with sales skills, and they start work at Google. And they find themselves pitted against younger, much technically savvier interns. And these people are pitted together. They're forced to work together. And what that movie teaches us is the importance of listening to the people around you. Because what happens in the film is, at first, Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, their characters are dismissed as too old, as not savvy enough to be taken seriously. But then gradually, the younger members of the team start to see the skills and the qualities that they have. And similarly, our heroes, Vince and Owen, start to learn a whole bunch of new things from their younger counterparts. And so while they've learned from the younger competitors who are now their counterparts, those guys have learned from them as well. And it teaches us that we can absolutely learn from people around us, even though they may not be at our seniority level. They may be in another organization, and they may be of a much different level of seniority or position or strength, but you can pick something up from them. And therefore, conscious leaders, really the lesson here is that conscious leaders need to take into account that everyone has something to offer. I love the saying by Socrates, who says, every person I meet is in some way my superior because I learn from them. And so they don't need to know it all at once, but they just need to seek and draw that knowledge and expertise from their teams. And that's a big lesson for leaders. So the takeaway lesson here is always be ready to learn from others. Okay, so now moving on with our list, let's move on to leadership lesson number 4. And number 4 is a favorite on my list, and it's probably a favorite for at least some of you on your list, somewhere in your top 5. And that is the one and only Rocky Balboa. But I'm not going to talk about the first 5 Rockies. I'm going to talk about the remake or the reinvention, the reboot, Rocky Balboa, that was probably about 12 years old now. Rocky Balboa reprised, so Sylvester Stallone reprises his role as Rocky Balboa as the long-standing boxing champ. He's all grown up, he's retired, his son is grown up. And in the film, he advises his son not to give up in the face of adversity. And his character reminds us that we need to keep moving forward. No matter what happens, we need to keep moving forward. And I think inspirational leaders take the good with the bad. This is the message here. The inspirational leaders really do take the good with the bad, and they keep going. They just keep pushing on. They show their team that you can take the hits and get up, take the hits and get up and try again. And that will inspire them to do the same on your behalf and inspire a culture of positivity within your organization. So leaving you with Rocky's famous words here, it ain't about hard you hit. It's about hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. All right, so that's Sylvester Stallone, Rocky Balboa. The lesson: deal with adversity as well as triumph. Item number 5, inspiration number 5 on the list is the love or hate him, Jordan Belfort, aka the Wolf of Wall Street. So when this film came out, charting the life, the rise and fall of the inimitable Jordan Belfort, it shows us that inspiring, charismatic leaders can really motivate their teams, lead them through challenging times, and reward them with high performance appropriately with amazing things. And yeah, in the film, we see how they have challenging times, and the character DiCaprio plays Jordan Belfort. So DiCaprio as Jordan Belfort really leads his team through challenging times. And he's infamous in that film for rewarding these high performance individuals in his team with like extreme displays of loyalty, right? His highly skilled workers will kind of do anything and everything. And he rewards them with drug-fueled parties, times on yachts, amazing cars, all kinds of material gifts. He lavishes them when they hit their monthly targets, and he just smothers them with this praise and adoration. And so these team members are like willing to do anything and everything to ensure that their company succeeds. So there is a lesson there. Well, the lesson isn't that you should just have drug-fueled parties and feed your staff caviar and, take them out on Rolls-Royce trips right now. But the lesson is you can't dispute the fact that if you can reward employees appropriately for their hard work, they will show up with more loyalty, more dedication, and more engagement for that common goal. So the lesson is reward success wherever you can, at least with your words and more so with your actions. So that's our 5 big lessons learned from the movies. I want to leave you with a bonus, which is a 6th one thrown in the list. And that bonus for me is another DiCaprio film, The Revenant. And The Revenant is not everybody's cup of tea. It's a dark, gritty film. If you've seen it, it's a wilderness and survival tale. And what's interesting is the former Apple marketing legend, Guy Kawasaki, right? Guy Kawasaki, he cites Frozen. He cites The Revenant, this whole frozen wilderness-based movie as a film where lessons about resilience and overcoming adversity for leaders is so evident, because throughout that movie, DiCaprio plays this person who is faced with terrible adversity, terrible odds. His health is ruined. His limbs are nearly torn off by that bear. And it's a massive lesson in resilience and overcoming adversity. And Kawasaki says it like this: no matter what people tell you or your inner voice tells you, you can beat that 800-pound gorilla, or in this case, the grizzly bear in the film, right? And DiCaprio does. He manages to overcome this huge grizzly bear, even though it was at great cost, like his limbs are torn off. And so Kawasaki uses that as a lesson for leaders, especially entrepreneurs. That entrepreneurship is more like that brutal challenge in the movie than it is about the fairy tale of meeting co-founders and venture capitalists and getting funding and sending your products and collecting revenue. It's a lot more about grittiness and surviving. And so the lesson from this movie is expect some brutality, but know you'll overcome it as long as suitable sacrifices are made. So my friends, those are 6 lessons for leadership and building conscious leaders from Hollywood movies. In my opinion, I'd love to hear what your movie favorites are and what lessons you learned from the movies you've watched. Feel free to share them in the feed. Leave your comments. I'd love you to share your input and wisdom that we can all benefit from. And obviously, as always, if you would like to get together and actually have somebody by your side, a coach, a mentor, somebody who is with you by your side, your sparring partner, your shouting partner, who is able to be there and coach you, not from the sidelines, but right there in the trenches with you to help you to become a more conscious, self-aware leader and lead your teams, help them to be better engaged, overcome stress and navigate uncertainty and chaos, then I'd love to hear from you. Drop me a line. Let's grab a virtual coffee or a virtual tea or a chai latte. Let's speak and see how we can help to shift your team and your leadership in the right direction. That's it from me. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay well, and stay wise. One podcast or one movie will help you to elevate your wisdom and help you to be a better you. That's it from me. Take care. Have a great weekend. Peace out.